Hello and welcome to Unfudge Your Marketing. This is a show where I chat with business owners and leaders about their marketing missteps, mishaps, and things that didn't go quite as planned on their marketing. But most importantly, we share the lessons learned with you. I'm so excited today to have on a guest who is in the marketing space. So he is a fellow marketer, and we are going to be chatting about some common marketing mistakes he sees with his clients. But before I get to that, in case we haven't met yet, I'm Christy Mitchell. I'm a marketing strategist and consultant, and I specialize in working with service-based business owners who have relied on referrals and word of mouth to build their business. And they know in order to grow for the future and have a bigger impact, they need to finally think more strategically about their marketing. Today, I am so excited to welcome Seth Goldstein to the show. Seth is a former newspaper journalist turned digital marketer and podcaster. He's worked for news outlets across Pennsylvania and New Jersey. After getting massively burned out, how many of us can relate to that? Seth turned to digital marketing, starting his own business at the best time in 2008. The idea was to start a business to get a job. It's been more than 15 years, and Seth's still at it and is loving every minute of it. He also helps budding podcasters and business owners break into the podcast ecosystem through his podcast coaching consultancy, Podcast Mastery, and its associated premium community. There's been ups and downs, but that's the entrepreneurial journey, and he wouldn't change it for anything. Seth hosts a popular podcast called The Entrepreneur's Enigma, where he talks about his experiences and talks to other entrepreneurs about their journeys. In addition to Entrepreneur's Enigma, Seth is the co-host of Digital Marketing Dive, a monthly podcast that talks about various digital marketing topics. It is currently on its 4th season. Not to be overshadowed by the 2 podcasts, Seth somehow finds time to put out a weekly topical marketing newsletter, Marketing Junto. When not working, Seth loves to travel and spend time with his wife, son, and their air doodle named Olive. What an intro that was. Welcome to the show, Seth.
I'm overwhelmed by how much I do. Every time I hear that intro, I'm like, oh my God, I really do all that.
Those are all of your things, all of the things.
It keeps going, but there's more.
But there's more. I know. I feel like so we have known each other for at least a few years now, and we were talking about this before we came on air. We met through Podmatch.
Yes.
So shout out to Podmatch for introducing Seth and I. I pitched Seth for me to come on his show, Entrepreneur's Enigma. And I've seen that you've interviewed so many of my business friends since then, which is super fun. And we've just stayed in touch. We love to chat about all things marketing and dogs and crazy only boy sons that we have.
They are crazy.
Yes.
In the best
Who
the best
keeps
way
you more on your
possible, right?
toes, Olive or your son?
Oh, my son, hands down. Olive's a love bug. Olive is like your dogs, just lays there all day. There's dogs. My son came up with this. My dog.
Mine's currently snoring.
There's active dogs and there's potato dogs. I think you got potato dogs and I have a potato dog. Literally, she just lays there all day long. We've talked about our dogs this whole podcast if you want.
Yes, I would love to do that, but I think the listeners would prefer if we talk about marketing.
Absolutely.
So something relatively new that I've been doing on the show is welcoming on some of my fellow marketer friends to chat, not necessarily about your own mistakes in marketing, but really what are the common mistakes that you see with clients that you work with or prospective clients that you almost work with. And when we were talking about having you come on the show, we were chatting about this idea of aligned expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So where do you want to start?
It's important to do that, but it's also important to keep them aligned throughout the project. So many times I see these clients like we're on board, we get where we're going, we have the outline, and then things go sideways almost every single time. Even though things can be as aligned as possible, it's making sure everyone is on the same page consistently through the project.
Okay.
It never fails. It never fails to surprise me when the client's like, oh, can we just do this? I mean, well, that's kind of not what we're doing at all, even remotely what we're doing at all. We can discuss that. I'm not against that, but like, hold on, let's stay aligned, stay on our track, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited to talk about this because I have, totally experienced the same thing. I think probably anybody working in the marketing realm has. And I wonder if it's because marketing is just so big, right? Like it's
big and
really,
broad.
I talk about it as like this huge umbrella with like all these pieces that kind of fall underneath it. So I'm curious to dive a little bit more into that upfront. What is it that you have seen, right? Because you've been at this even longer than I have. What is it that you've seen to be helpful between a marketing provider and the client in terms of that like initial maybe onboarding, or maybe even before you onboard? Maybe it's through that discussion of like choosing the right provider, because we talk about that a lot on the show with guests I've had, is like what they would have done differently in choosing a provider to work with. So where do you think it kind of starts with aligning expectations? Probably in that discovery,
It's the
potential
discovery
client
call and it's
phase.
the kickoff call. It's the two
Yeah.
calls. It's the one when you're first like kind of courting of sorts. Like the relationship is just getting started. You're saying, "Hey, we like to work together." It's also kind of sizing up each other to see if you're the right fit. Because just because they want to work with you doesn't mean they're the right fit or you're the right fit for them. And sometimes you got to refer them out and
Yeah.
send them out on their way and say, "Hey, go talk to Steve, Joe, Donna over there,
Yeah.
who might be a better fit for you, because this is not something I feel there's a right fit here." And a lot of times it's that. And then it's also setting expectations in the kickoff call. Like when we're ready, they sign the contract, they pay the first installment or first month's retainer, whatever you're doing. Setting expectations, saying we're gonna meet these times, we're gonna have these deliverables at these times, and if you miss this, it's gonna push things back. Everyone always asks me, what is the biggest thing that delays a project? You, not me, you. And they always giggle. They always laugh because it's like, really? I'm like, yeah, because if we stay aligned, if I say 4 to 6 weeks for a website, it's gonna be 4 to 6 weeks. If we don't stay aligned, it's gonna be 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
If not more. And I've had projects go that way, and it's just like, they're like, why it takes so long? I'm like, because of you. You didn't get me things on time. You didn't and I'm like, I'm not pointing fingers at you. I'm happy that we're getting this thing launched and we're ready to move on to the next phase. But you asked me why, and why is not because of me or the process, is because the process wasn't, followed.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny because as you say that, I'm thinking about the conversations I have sometimes on those discovery calls. And when I'm talking with those small to mid-sized companies and we're talking about my strategy package, they're like, okay, well, how long does it take like to do this? And I said 2 months usually. And they're like,
Usually.
they're kind of like
Underline,
disappointed because I think they want to like get it, like, let's just like do this thing and get it done. But I always say, I'm like, it's really just a matter of us being able to coordinate our schedules, because we have to get, so, I have my process of like, okay, well, we need these meetings to cover these pieces of the strategic planning process. And so it really is a matter of your schedule, my schedule, lining those up and getting those dates on the calendar. And
so tough.
I could lie and be like, yeah, we'll get it done in a month, but like, then I'm not setting anybody up. Right. And
There's
so
no
it's like,
expectation
I
set
guess,
at that point. Yeah.
yes. Yeah. So I always like to just be, I'm like, it's usually 2 to 3 months. I mean,
And be honest
that's
with yourself
realistic.
too. Stay aligned in your own self, because you do have dogs, a husband, a kid, all that stuff that you have a
Everyone needs
schedule.
me.
But that's what I'm saying. You have a schedule in life.
Yes.
And they
Yep.
have a husband, a wife, a kid, dogs, all that stuff. And they have a life. And you have to say, it's less of like expectations. It's more like being realistic with life. Is like
Yes.
setting expectations. Like, I have a client right now that's like, we're supposed to meet weekly. Sometimes it doesn't happen weekly because the stars didn't align. So will it be a 6-month contract? No, maybe it'll be 7 months. I'm not going to charge you more because it's, we agreed to 6 months. But if we don't get all of the times in, all right, we'll go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And it's what nice being my own boss is I can say that we'll go a little bit longer.
Yeah. So when you have those conversations up front and you say like, well, it's going to depend on you, like, it's not going to be on me that things don't get done on time. It's going to be on you. And they kind of laugh about it. Do you like end up bringing that back up to them later on when the project is getting delayed?
I say, see, with a
Remember
big
that
smile on my face. And
conversation
I'm
we
not trying
had?
to be a snot or anything about it, but I'm like, like, it's taking a little bit longer than we want. And they're like, yeah, things got in the way. There's always going to be roadblocks. In that 4 to 6 weeks, I say, for a website, or that 4 to 6 months for like a marketing thing or whatever it is, usually it counts for Roblox, just not the
Mhm.
Roblox that they put in there too.
Right.
Like it accounts for. I mean, like literally, I had a client. I told him 4 to 6 weeks, and it was an e-commerce website for a CBD company, and it literally took us 3 weeks to get done because they had this has happened once in 17 years.
The
They had
golden
everything.
child of clients.
They handed me everything we needed. We had a few quick questions, and we were off to the races, and we banged it out in 3 weeks. And they're like,
Yeah.
we weren't expecting them, and neither was I. Neither was I. And
feel
I'm
like that's
honest with them,
actually
I'm like, this
never
should have
happened
taken
before.
4 to 6 weeks or longer because it was a big project. But
Yeah.
because they had all their ducks in a row, which never happens, we were able
Yeah.
to run with it.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm hearing like time expectations are a really big factor. I love that we started with that. What else are you finding yourself having a lot of conversations with clients in that kind of discovery process and the onboarding kickoff call? Like, what other expectations do you think really need to be spelled out?
That it's a collaboration. A big thing is that it's a
Mm,
collaboration that, like, if they want me to get a copywriter involved, great, I'll get a copywriter involved. If they want to do the copy, well, then they're on the hook for the copy. They need to
yes.
figure that out. Like, and they need to get it to me in a prompt time. And a lot of times that's where it boils down to. It's like they don't want to pay more for me to get someone else involved to help them with the copy, but they might need to. They might need to
Hmm.
get things rocking and rolling with another provider that I
Yep.
have vetted, that I know how it's going to go and all that stuff. And when they follow, like, there's like, just we'll pay the money, just get it done. Things go smoothly because we have the
Hmm.
copy person coming in. I have a photographer going out to their location to get photos, or or we spend we spend like a few hours looking at stock photos or going through their
Hmm.
photo library and finding the right photos for their website or for their marketing materials. Like, everyone, you have to set expectations. Going back to expectations, that it is a collaborative process. It's not like, here,
Yep.
build a website for me. And it's like, what? Can I have some more? Can I have
Yeah.
some more, please? Like, please, more.
Yes. Yes. And so I want to dig into that piece
Yeah.
because I have been in, different client relationships where we have this like, okay, and I've encountered it in all different ways. So sometimes they've already gone out and hired someone to do their website and then they're like, actually, we need like a full strategic marketing plan. So that's an interesting one. And then sometimes they come to me and they're like, well, we know we need a new website, but we do want to, do it with having a full strategic marketing plan in mind. Those are the most ideal when it's like,
Yeah, when
okay,
they're
let's figure out.
logical about it.
Yes.
No one's
Yep.
logical.
Figuring out how are we gonna, yes.
No one's
So we
logical.
need,
Even I'm not logical, but
no, they're
I'm trying to
not.
be more
They're
logical
not.
than the client.
Well, and so it brings up this like, okay, what has to come first? How are we gonna like move all these balls forward at the same time, get things rolling? And then, one thing I like about the way that you approach it, and it's similar to what I do with my clients, is like I have my zone of genius. And if
Mhm.
you need people to do these other things that we're gonna need to bring this full thing to life, I can
Mhm.
bring in those people. But
Plug and play. Yeah.
if you already have those resources on your team or you already have a copywriter you love working with, then let's, again, back to your word, collaboration, let's take a collaborative approach and figure
Mhm.
out how do we get all this done.
Absolutely. It goes into collaboration and time management. It's really what it is, those 2 things.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
also, sometimes I will put off the kickoff call until they have the copy together, or the general
Mm,
gist of copy of how they want it, kind of the rock and roll on the site. We'll put off the kickoff call until that's done. And it's painful for everyone because we all want to meet and keep going, keep going, keep going. But a lot of times, copy is needed before the design can happen, because sometimes the copywriter has an idea where copy should go,
yep.
and then we can base the design on that, versus doing design with lorem ipsum, the fake Latin font, and then things are too long and things don't mesh correctly, and then we're trying to face, was it round hole and square peg round hole, something like that.
Square peg, round hole. Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
thing.
mean, it probably works either way.
Either way, trying to get something that doesn't fit into something that you get to fit. It's
Yeah.
not going to work. Yeah.
Yeah, so for anyone listening to this conversation, if they are like, gosh, I really need to tackle my marketing, I probably need a new website, probably need all the things, like, where do they start? I have my own opinions on that.
Yeah.
But before I share those, what would you say?
They need to know what they like. Honestly, they need to go around the web and find, not maybe it doesn't have to be a whole site that they like, but a piece of a site that they like. Screen cap
Mm,
it, put it in their folder. Find something else you kind of like. I like kind of like how they did this. Like,
yep,
do almost a mood board of things that you like about sites. Then
I
bring it to
like
me,
that.
bring it to Christy, and say, this is what I want. Something that kind of has these elements. And the
Yeah,
more legwork you do, the more collaborative it is, and the more accomplished you feel like the project's going to be because you've taken an active role in the project.
yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, having kind of a vision of what you want it to look like for sure. And then the other thing that, as the marketing strategist, I think is like strategy first. So like let's
Yes,
figure out the overall strategy. What is it that we want the website to do for us?
your
Are you
ICP.
really
Yeah.
trying to get found organically through the website, which a lot of people come to me and they're like, I don't expect to play the SEO game. I can't invest in it. There's too many big players, whatever it might be. But the website still is important because it's a
Oh,
way for people
absolutely.
to learn more about you and build that trust and hopefully get on your email list so then you can nurture them over time. Like that's how I like to look at the website is like, how does it serve the entire marketing plan?
It needs
So
to be
that
done.
strategy.
It's not one piece.
Yes.
It's not one
Yep.
piece and that's it. You need a
Hmm.
strategy behind things. And a lot of times you do have to start with that or
Yep.
get a basic website up and rock and rolling and then keep building upon it as you get your strategy. There's two ways of doing it. Immediately start with a strategy and a plan, talk to Christy, then come to Seth.
Yep.
Or come to Seth to get a basic site up so there's something there. And then go
Yep.
back to Christy and say, all right, we got basic something here, but now let's get this lined up.
Yeah. Well, and I think that is important though, Seth, because like going back to how we started this conversation, right? Like marketing
Yeah.
is so huge. And so a lot of times I think it's really challenging for business owners to know like where do I start? So a lot of times I have seen them like, okay, we need a website or we just need something simple for now, which is okay if it's going to get you off the ground and get you
Mm-hmm.
rolling. And then eventually you get to the point where you're like, okay, we really need to like take some time to think about all of these things as a holistic marketing plan instead of this
Mm-hmm.
one-off spaghetti at the wall thing.
Spaghetti at the wall thing. I love that. That's a good analogy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's how most business owners approach marketing. I have
Yeah,
found.
fly by the seat of their pants. Oh my God.
Yes. Which is okay for a while. I always say like doing something is usually better than doing nothing. The
Yes.
whole you can't really do more harm than good in most cases. We won't go there.
Sometimes you can.
Um Sometimes you can. But in general, if you're going about it with good intentions and you're kind of doing
Yes.
some marketing things here and there, that's better than doing nothing at all. And then eventually you're like, okay, I really need this strategic plan. And going back to what we were saying is like, okay, you might want to look at the marketing strategy first. Maybe you want to get a basic website up first. But the copywriting piece is a really big
It's
one too.
crucial.
I'm glad you brought this up, is that because a lot of times, again, business owners think like, oh, I'm getting a new website, and they think that it's all included. And it really just depends on the provider that you're using. And back to our aligned expectations, what is the expectation for
Mm-hmm.
this marketing or this marketing person, this website developer I'm hiring? Is it an all included package, or am I, the business owner, going to be responsible for providing the copy that's going on that website? So
Or is it
getting
something
clear and
that I'm gonna have
aligned.
to source as the marketer for them?
Yes.
Then they're gonna have to factor that into the price.
Right. Right. Yeah. Lots of moving pieces. And
There's
then
always a lot of
like
moving There's
for
always
the
a lot.
clients that I work with, usually we're talking in terms of like a lead magnet and getting an email sequence set up and
Mhm.
email newsletter forms and a blog on the website. Like all of those content pieces all have to
Yeah,
be taken into account.
absolutely. It's crucial. Even if they start with someone like me who's not overall marketing strategist, they're gonna have to think about that at some point. They're just gonna.
Hmm.
Or
Yep.
they don't, and they're like, "Well, what are we doing here?"
Yes.
So,
Yeah. I've definitely seen that where someone goes and invests in a nice, pretty website, and then they're like, but I'm not getting new clients. It's like,
yeah,
okay,
now what?
well,
It's like you build
yeah,
something in the forest, a tree in the forest. I mean, if a tree falls in the forest and you're not there to hear it, it falls.
yes,
It makes a noise.
Yes.
On the web, if you build a website and no one knows that it exists, it really doesn't exist. I'm sorry.
It's not really there.
It's ones and zeros. It's there, but then once it's found, then it exists. It's kind of that weird mind meld thing.
Yep. So we're talking about expectations. We talked about time expectations. We talked about what was the other piece we were talking about? Time and
collaborative approach.
Collaboration. Yes. How much does that business owner need to be involved? How do we make sure that all the pieces needed to create this thing we're trying to create together are going to come together? Are there any other things related to expectations or otherwise that you see are common kind of things you need to figure out with the clients when you work with them?
Realize that the budget you set might have to grow. It might have to grow as you add things. A lot of people are thinking like, oh, I'm just going to add a page. Well, that page, now you need more copy. Now you need photos, videos. You need the design laid out for that page. Time is money, effort, labor, all that stuff. It's going to cost more money to add another page. And people don't realize that, oh, it's just another page. No, it's not just, nothing's never just another. Never is.
Yeah. So being flexible on budgets.
Yeah, you can be flexible. I mean, I don't think an extra page should cost more than a few $100 if you're doing it right. But you should there's plus or minus a few hundred here and there.
Yep, that makes sense.
You should. If you don't, you're gonna be surprised.
Yeah. Seth, this has been such a helpful conversation, I think, to listeners in terms of going out and finding marketing providers they might want to hire, things to keep in mind regarding expectations in terms of timeline and collaboration and budget and all of these important things. Is there anything else that you want to leave listeners with in terms of a lesson or advice?
Go into it and have fun with it. A lot of business owners don't realize that this can be a fun project. Being creative can be fun. You just have to let it be fun and know that it's collaborative.
Yes. I love that. I love that you ended with fun. That's actually
it has to be fun.
One of the versions of like my bio.
Well.
Yes. I want everyone to have fun with their marketing. That's like big pie in the sky goal of mine. Help everyone have more fun with their marketing. Oh, thanks. That's very sweet. Okay, Seth, if people want to learn more about you and what you do, things that you're offering, that whole podcast community, new thing, fun thing that you're doing, how can people reach out and learn more?
The easiest thing is there's 3 links. There's social.sethgoldstein.me. Literally all the links are there. So even if you don't remember these other 2 links, they're there. Social.sethgoldstein.me. It's my little self-made link tree of sorts. But then goldsteinmedia.com and podcastmastery.coach. Those are the 2 main sites of my 2 verticals I'm working in.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Where's Olive? Is she sleeping under your desk?
No, she's kicked out. During these podcasts, I do not let her down here because if mommy comes in, she starts barking, and even my good mic still picks the bark because it's a big bark.
So we started out this conversation. One of mine was being a potato on the couch out in the living room. One was the potato in my office under my desk. And as we were talking, of course, the one got FOMO and had to like bust through my door and come in. So.
Oh, and I also saw you almost trip over the one under your desk at one point too. It was kind of funny.
Yes.
You're like, ah!
Yep. I know. My husband is like, why do you keep the bed under your desk? I'm like, they just like to be close to me. I don't know. My office
it's
really
sweet.
Is nothing. I don't have a whole lot of room.
It's sweet.
It's so fitting that you and I end our conversation talking about our dogs because that's just
I love my dog. I mean, I love my kid, but sometimes I like my dog more.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Seth, for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and your expertise as always. And until next time, everybody, we'll see you back.